The parable of the unjust steward may be the most puzzling of all the stories coming from Jesus. And for some of you, it may leave you disturbed and concerned. But we must remember the purpose of a parable is to teach. Let me set the stage and then cover a couple of lessons and maybe offer a little homework as well. Absentee landlords regularly made use of stewards, serving as administrators, business agents, and property managers to handle the owner's business affairs. It was a position of honor in their society and the local community. In the parable, our steward specifically handled the land contracts that was rented out to farmer tenants. The rent payment would be after harvest by giving the landowner a pre-agreed upon portion of the harvest proceeds. Within agriculture, this is a legal arrangement called sharecropping, and it is still used today. My mother-in-law, who lives in Dallas, has this arrangement for her farm back in Kansas, as a sharecropper rents it each year and gives my mother-in-law half of the wheat revenue. Our steward in question was accused of being wasteful, and the landlord demanded he hand over all the tenant contracts he had negotiated. And yet, later in the parable, Jesus will applaud him for his shrewdness and decisive action for the good of all. No details are given regarding the nature of the mismanagement. It may have been incompetence, neglect, or embezzlement that led to the servant's squandering of the owner's wealth. Regardless of which condition, it is remarkable the landowner did not send the steward to jail. The owner demonstrates mercy and chooses to just dismiss him. But until the steward hands over the books, he still has a card to play. He still has authority over the land renters. He seizes this opportunity of his master's leniency to cultivate favor with the sharecroppers. The servant may be a scoundrel, but he will show foresight and demonstrate decisive action for the good. He welcomes them into his home, where he moves quickly to sweeten their annual rent contracts. Tells the farmer who cultivates oil trees his rent will be reduced by 50%, and a wheat grower will only have to pay 80% of the original contract. They are pleased and agree to the new rental agreement. They do not know the steward is being dismissed. They ask no questions, and they don't try to understand it too deeply. They presume he has talked to the master and into a more favorable rate for them. They would also think very highly of the master for being so generous. When the landowner discovers what the steward has done, he compliments him. The quick and clever action of the steward has not only put the steward in good favor with the renters, it has also brought increased honor to the landowner, who would be foolish to overturn anything he has done. There are two lessons here, but let us start with how the steward sets a good example at his level in his little world of the affairs he is charged with. Jesus says in the parable, "For the children of this world are more prudent in dealing with their own generation than the children of light." The implicit lesson is that those whose allegiance is to God should be as prudent and far-sighted in acting in godly ways as the worldly are acting in worldly ways. The second lesson, the servant was less than trustworthy with the wealth of another. And so how can he be trusted with true wealth that comes from the ultimate landowner, God? In our modern world, how can God place trust in us? We must avoid the corruption or wickedness that comes from dishonest wealth. The word dishonest was defined in biblical terms not to mean money that was acquired corruptly or criminally, but wealth that causes someone to become immoral or lead to wickedness. They lack the trust of managing God's blessings in a forthright manner, and they choose money over God. It is pretty clear we cannot serve two masters. 10 days ago, Queen Elizabeth II passed away, 70 years of service to her community, her country, the empire, and actually the world. During an interview with a chaplain many years ago, she commented how she wished Jesus would come in her lifetime. Puzzled by that statement, the chaplain asked, "Why?" The Queen replied with quivering lips, and her whole expression lighted up by deep emotion as she said, "I should so love to lay my crown at his feet." She knew you cannot serve two masters. N.T. Wright, former Bishop of Durham, Church of England, wrote this morning in an op-ed, "The Queen humbly followed Jesus." We cannot serve God and money, called mammon in the gospel. This is precisely the basis of Jewish and Christian social ethics. The goods of the earth belong to God. Human beings are stewards of those resources to serve the needs of all. The application for the children of the light also means managing God's resources or blessings to them using wealth in the way that Jesus advocates, feeding the hungry, clothing the naked, and lending, but asking nothing in return. 20 miles west of here is one of only 2 facilities in the United States where our federal government prints money. At the Bureau of Engraving and Printing facility in Fort Worth, they print it by the tens of millions, literally. I was amazed during the tour to find out after they print it, cut it, count it, band it, stack it, box it, it only has a value of the cost of the paper, the ink, and the packaging. It is valueless, not worth a penny, not worth the paper or what is written on that paper. But as that pallet of boxed $20 bills is pulled towards a thick yellow line 1 foot wide across the floor, the operator stops. Permission is granted for him to pull the pallet of boxes across the line. At that moment, it becomes legally funded by the Federal Reserve System and is given a value of $60 million. Pre-inflation value, of course. But the one thing on those bills that has infinite value, no matter what side of the line the bills are on, is the phrase printed on every bill, "In God we trust." I urge you to reflect on that by doing the following. And I'm sorry, it won't work with cryptocurrency or Apple Pay. Maybe later this afternoon or evening, pull out a $1, $5, $10, or $20 bill from your billfold, money clip, or purse, maybe with the children present. Prayerfully read that phrase 2 or 3 times out loud. In God we trust. In God we trust. In God we trust. Ask yourself a question. What in God's eyes would be the best use of the wealth and the riches he has bestowed upon us in this world to gain favor as a trustworthy steward of what we have been blessed with?